I've been hard at work. You'll have seen in some of the time lapses that I've been ripping out more stuff around here. I've got rid of the bridge, and I've now reached a point where I'm starting to rebuild. And what I wanted here, I think I've talked about this before, is that I want to actually move the point for the lead into the top of Weir Yard itself right back over to here. And that of course means moving the point and the point motor, building a double track bridge. There's a lot of changes to go into here. Today's video comes in association with Train-O-Matic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. We're proud to be sponsored by The Model Centre, your ultimate destination for great models and the home of model customization for enthusiasts around the world. Starting your first layout? Perhaps you're perfecting a lifelong build with passion. You'll find everything you need in one shop, from brand new locomotives and rolling stock at market-leading prices to an amazing selection of pre-owned model listings, uploaded live every day on the website at 5 p.m. Seeking more realism? TMC's talented workshop team offers professional weathering and realistic detailing. Explore top brands, expert advice, and a community that shares your love of the hobby, in-store or online at themodelcentre.com. I've dismantled all of the track work, got rid of the bridge, got rid of the retaining walls, and cut the piece of wood that all of the track back here was balanced on. And I've moved it across just a little bit, refixed it in place, and that's given me enough of a gap to be able to put in this IP digital point motor. Now I've preset that up. This is really important because once this is in, it's buried out of the way and pretty much invisible, and would be a big deal to gain access to. Actually, you'd have to take out some of these retaining walls, which I'm going to be using in front of here. Now that's screwed to the back seam, well, the piece of wood that the back seam's on. That means it's actually really quite nicely fixed in place, and I've already pre-prepared this point to go on top. It's a little hard to line up the pin into there, and that's how that's going to go. I've made sure that the point switches in the correct direction to match up with the lever on the signal box panel. I now know that that is the right position for the point blades to be in when I fix all this down. Now, getting this to all line up is a little bit tricky, it must be said. And what I need to do is cut a new piece of track to fit in the gap in between. I've used some offcuts of thick card to extend the top here. Now originally there were some strips of balsa wood which made up the distance, and it all came out, it was all a bit naff. So instead I've used this 1mm or perhaps 2mm card, and I've glued and staple gunned it in so that it doesn't have any waves or imperfections. The staples really make sure that that's held tight whilst the glue sets, and that then will hold the retaining walls at the right distance out to actually get them in the right position. They're actually going to lean out ever so slightly, so there's a few little tricks going on here, but overall quite happy, and that's going to make sure that we've got a good firm base for the ballast. Now I did buy a whole load more of these retaining walls. I got some of the highest of the Scaledale ones. I also got some Bachmann ones. The Bachmann ones don't really have heights, they're just tall.
What?
And these I don't think are as detailed. The Scaledale ones are a lot better in my opinion, but these are going to go underneath the bridge area, and these are going to form the walls for this area, and then the bridge can actually sit onto I probably need to put a beam across the top. I can do that. And then I'm going to have a double track bridge, which will be part girder plate and also part a steel truss bridge. I've got some of the old Airfix kits, and I'm going to build those up into a bridge that I can fit in. I need to extend them. It's going across at quite a heavy skew as well. It just makes it a little bit tricky, but I think I can do that. I've already taken a few measurements for the tracks coming out from here. I'm going to reuse the radius 1 curve for the far track, and then the actual innermost track on the raised section will be a much gentler curve than I've had before, and I think that that is going to help stuff getting round. I envisage that the raised section will actually probably get used a lot for things like rail cars, DMUs, is something I really want to do. The bridge is going to be a 2-part construction. Now, I already had that I built one of these Airfix girder style bridges, and that was too short by quite a long way, so I managed to pick up a second unbuilt kit. And I've actually extended the kit. It's easier if you actually build it extended from the outset. But I've been able to manage. There'll be a little bit of filler needs to go in just to sort out some of the gaps. And I've used some spare bits from the Vary girders just to brace a few things, put some extra rivet detail across the top with those as well. Once it's had a going over with a bit of filler and then painted black, to, as much as anything, undercoat it and get all the nooks and crannies, because otherwise it's a thankless task painting something like this with a paintbrush. Now, the support that's going to be underneath, I've put together some of the spare pieces left from the second kit. I've started taking up some of the ballast to be able to get it in, but I may have to rejig some of these tracks so that there's a support in between. I've got to check clearances, but that's because the old bridge just looked a bit silly. It was far too long for the spindly nature of the structure, and it needed support in the middle. So that's going to be going in, and hopefully that's all going to work out. And I've made up this cross-braced steel construction, which hopefully is thin enough, will sit between the tracks without causing any clearance issues. And because that's not high enough, I'm going to also work on whether I can use some of the other spare pieces to be able to build up extra structure. What I can use is these end pieces and then trim them off and place another piece across the top, so I can build up a girder construction, which I think will work quite well, especially if spray painted in black, so it's not too in your face. For the second track, I've actually been repairing some of the Vary girder parts that were on the side of that original bridge. There's no point in throwing these away, so what I've done is I've made them up into one long girder, and I'll probably be cutting this to length with my Dremel. But I've also got some of these. These are the Pico bridge girder sides. These are actually quite good. I used some of these cut down on the bridge where the waterfall's going to go. But originally I had some of these on the other side of that bridge that originally was there in this location. Those are the ones I cut up for that waterfall bridge. But I actually had some spare ones still languishing in my bits box. I also found a remnant from Trinity Road from what actually was the girders underneath the main station building. And again, this has just been languishing in my spares box. And I'm going to cut and trim these up and use these for the second bridge across the front here. So what I might actually do is have the girders at the back and a trim for the joins so that they fit together quite nicely, and then use the Vary girders for the front. So effectively we get two single track bridges side by side, and they'll probably all get glued together as well to increase the strength. So that's the plan I've got for the bridge construction. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model 00 gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
I spent a lot of time trying to make the bridge that the upper level tracks go across the lower level tracks, and it's really difficult because, as you've seen in the time lapses, as you've seen in the videos and the pictures, it's a really tight skew, and we're very close to the back scene, so the 2 tracks on top are curved and the 4 tracks on the bottom are all curved. So we've got 3 tracks that are already there that have to work around, but an entire day of messing about, just test fitting everything, which I didn't really film a lot of because a lot of it's long-winded and boring, has ended up with actually a eureka moment when I started building up one of these Wills kits. This is the overbridge. This actually, once I stuck it to some of the Scaledale walls, it all came clear. So what I've done with this to try and match the engineer's blue brick, I've got an old tin of Humbrol number 157, which it says is Azure Blue or something like that, or Aircraft Blue. It's difficult to tell because it's one of the ones where the label's worn off with age. But that's given me fairly close, not quite all the way, but that's because this has got mortar joins in. And what I want to do now is take some white acrylic and a little bit of water, and I'm going to just try and get some of those mortar courses into this. Now, I must admit, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water there, and this tends to draw via capillary action into all the mortar joins, and you end up where the mortar is a kind of creamy white colour, and the rest of the actual brickwork stays mostly in that main colour. And then it's just simply a case of letting this dry, and then I'm going to give it some weathering washes, some black soot, things like that, and that's all it takes. In some of the pictures you'll have seen this area developing. I've taken out all of the scenery that was here. I'm back on the baseboards, and that just gives me a clean slate to be able to work on this area. I'm going to completely redo all of the embankment in between, and because we've got a new 4th track coming through, I've got to put in a new bridge. And I didn't like the old bridge anyway. I thought it was a bit rubbish. So what I've got here is some of the scene craft, Scaledale walling. There's a lot going on, and it's just simply a case of measuring everything up. This is just loosely laid track to try and give a sense of where all of the track layout is going to go. I want a track going through here, and then it's going to start to swing round, ready to join up with that head shunt. I also made up and painted partially the girder that's going across here. So I'm just going to loose fit that. This track up here, again, it's just loose, so there's still some work that I need to get on with up here. I'm going to be using a little bit of card, that kind of thing, just to build up the track bed. But I can already see that I've finally turned a corner and actually started to work out how everything's going to go. This will be a short tunnel through here. I'm going to have the other portal right back at this end. Again, I'll paint that up, and rather than being a road bridge, effectively we've just got the 2 tunnel portals, and it's a short cut and cover to allow this track to dive under the 2 tracks on top. Over on the other side of the bridge, the grass and the sheep, the stone circles and such like are all in. Really pleased that I managed to get Les's tree back onto this layout. And you wouldn't actually know that that huge chunk of real estate there has been transplanted and even turned 180 degrees from its prior location. I've put in the plate layers hut that used to go over the top of that point motor, and this seems like a pretty good location to put it, just a nice interesting feature. There's still ballasting to be done, and that will really finish off this area. Up on the top too, the bridge is slowly taking shape with some of the track going down. I've got some of the girder pieces in, and the truss bridge is now also in place, with the roof of this short cut and cover tunnel starting to take shape. This is really just being put together from scrap pieces of packaging from some of the Scaledale walling, some foam board, some bits of wood as well to give it some real structure. And again, it all has started to come together quite well, with a structure on the other side from some of the vari girders that will really just finish that off. That's probably the most awkward area, and from track level I want it so that when I'm actually running the camera wagon it doesn't look weird. On the old weird yard there was actually a piece where you could see the risers underneath. They poked out the top of the bridge abutment, and I was always very mindful of this. So in the construction of this, I've made sure that even at track level, from angles that you wouldn't normally see, there's still a thought about the look of the scenics, so that when I send the camera wagon round, it's going to look pretty good. I hope you really enjoyed this. Do leave a comment down below. Let me know your favourite areas of the new build. Do please like, share and subscribe. It's a great help to the channel as always. And until next time, you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now. And you make sure that you have a great amount of fun. Take care. See you later. Today's video comes in association with Train-O-Matic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model OO gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world, with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com, and don't miss out on your latest logo.
We're proud to be sponsored by The Model Centre, your ultimate destination for great models and the home of model customization for enthusiasts around the world. Starting your first layout? Perhaps you're perfecting a lifelong build with passion. You'll find everything you need in one shop, from brand new locomotives and rolling stock at market-leading prices to an amazing selection of pre-owned model listings, uploaded live every day on the website at 5 p.m. Seeking more realism? TMC's talented workshop team offers professional weathering and realistic detailing. Explore top brands, expert advice, and a community that shares your love of the hobby, in-store or online at themodelcentre.com. I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.